Welcome back to Broken Bobby's Transformation Page. If you are new to the page, in 1990 I became involved in the drug gang world. From 92 to '06, I spent a lot of time incarcerated. I tell these stories to let you know it don't have to be you. If you're young and thinking about trying something or you're figuring out how to get out, these are my stories of this lifestyle and how it affected me, and eventually I got out and transformed my life. So let's get into today's story.
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see by the thumbnail, this is Doing Time with the Bulldogs. And the current state of the Bulldogs as well, I'm going to throw in on this one. You have to excuse me for the voice. I've been sick, and I'm getting a little better every day, but the voice is still tripping, so excuse me on that one. Now, before I ever went to prison, I had heard about the Bulldogs. And if you don't know, the Bulldogs are from Fresno. And there's a bunch of different neighborhoods of Bulldogs. And from what I understand, these guys will beef with each other on the street. But in prison, they are a force to be reckoned with. And before we get any further, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Smash that like button, drop a comment, let me know what you think. And if you know somebody that enjoys this sort of content, share the video, please. We are growing. We just passed 900 subs. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell so that if I go live or I drop a new video, you will be notified and you can hop on in. So, let me give you a little bit of history on the Bulldogs. Now, they used to be a part of the Northern organization up north there. And eventually they, I guess, had a falling out with the North and decided they wanted to go on their own. So once they stopped kicking it with the North, I guess you would say, they were kind of messing with the South a bit, like kind of, I don't know if you'd say they were clicked up, but they were programming on the same yards. And as I understand it from the research I've done, basically the South was using those guys as torpedoes so that if Northerners came on the yard, they were the ones that were going to remove them. And this lasted for a while, and the Bulldogs decided that, you know, they just weren't going to do that. So, you know, they broke off and became their own thing, not associated with anybody. And from what I understand of the Bulldogs, they don't have a chain of command. They don't have an official leadership. You know, there are definitely people that are influential in that group, but they don't necessarily answer to anybody. So that makes them a little bit more of a wild card in the world of prison. Now, since they were now beefing with the North and the South, what the CDC did was they had certain yards that were Bulldog yards, and there wouldn't be any Northerners or Southerners on those yards. And that lasted for quite some time. Then basically the Department of Corrections, after the end to hostilities agreement was made and they allowed all the big homies back on the yard, CDCR has been trying to integrate the Bulldogs with these organizations, and it isn't working. I'll get into a little bit more of that towards the end, but let me tell you some experiences I've had with the Bulldogs. So when I was in reception at North Kern, also known as Delano, initially I was on B yard, and then I got moved over to C yard. C yard is dorm living. It's level 3 and below is what it's considered. It's medium security. And we had a canteen draw, so I went out and got my canteen I was in the first building on the yard, I believe on the B side. And a couple of buildings over is either, I think it was building 3 or 4. They had bulldogs in there and they were segregated from they weren't on the yards with the South, basically. I was on, my building had Southerners in it. No Northerners, no Bulldogs, just whites, Southerners, blacks, and others. So I went out and got canteen with a group of other inmates, and we're coming back from the store essentially, and I got a couple bags of groceries that I got, my soups and my zoom zooms and my wham whams and all that stuff, and we're walking back, and as we're passing the Bulldog building, now at North Kern, there is a little outside patio area, and there's at least one bench out there, maybe more, but it's like a picnic table type of a thing, and then it's fenced off. It's just a little small area, and there's a few of them out there. I don't know for what reason, but in this area, like as you're coming in, if you look up, there's bars, and this is the area you would be in coming into the prison. If you're going into that building, you would be there, and they would drop the bucket down from up above, and you would put your ID in there, and they would house you, basically. So they were out in this area. We're walking by, and all of a sudden, this group of guys start barking at us. Woof, 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 woof. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I had never experienced anything like this. And I'm thinking to myself, that must be where they keep all J-cats. If you don't know what a J-cat is, that's somebody that might be a little bit mentally unstable, marching to the beat of their own drum type of individuals. And, one of the homies that was walking with me, I said something like, what the fuck is up with these guys? And one of the homies that was walking with me said, those are the Bulldogs, the Fresno guys. And I'm like, oh, okay. So like I had heard about these guys, but I had never seen it firsthand. And it tripped me the hell out. I was like, wow. I guess it's supposed to be like an intimidation factor or something of that nature is the reason that they do that, And I've heard that, that like with the woods, we're not allowed to sell soldier. And what I mean by that is if you are behind a cell door, you don't run your mouth and talk a bunch of crap to other people. You can just, let the door be the bell. If you got a problem with somebody and, you know what I mean? Like you don't run your mouth back there. And that's kind of, as I understand it, what that was. And I've heard they've been known to have that type of behavior. I don't know if I'm wrong. Drop a comment and let me know. Like I said, I don't have a whole lot of experience with these guys, but that was one instance. Then I was in McFarland. This is a community correctional facility. Very low security. They're not even correctional officers. They're like security guards, rent-a-cops. They run these places. And in this place, in the building that I was in, it was dorm living, and there were 4 Bulldogs in there. And they were kind of quiet, didn't really interact a lot. They weren't barking here. You know what I mean? But when I first realized who they were, I was walking past the bunk area, and one of these Bulldogs, he had like a prison-made picture frame with a picture of himself. A little narcissistic, but hey, whatever works for you, I guess. And it, like, I kind of got stuck looking at the picture, and one of the homies was like, come on, let's take a walk, like before you end up getting in a wreck over here. But the reason I got stuck is I had never seen a Hispanic all flamed out in a picture, or in person for that matter. And what I mean by all flamed out is red from head to toe. And, it was a picture of him from the streets, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, what the hell? Like, that seemed so foreign to me. But eventually, when we were out on yard, what happened was these Bulldogs rushed the Southsiders. Now, like I said, there's 4 of them. At the time on the yard, there were probably 20 Southsiders. And, in these community correctional facilities, they don't have any way of quelling violence. So if a riot kicks off or something, they lock the doors and they call the closest pin for them to send a response team. And that's what happened here. So, it was all bad for the Bulldogs. But this is a method that's used in prison if you land on a yard that you're not supposed to be. And I'm assuming that's what had happened here. Or if you're at such a big minority that the other groups feel like they can walk over you. And, like I've heard stories where groups have been told, you can program on the yard, but you have to keep your shirt on, type of thing, because we don't want to see your tattoos. Well, in this instance, the gangster thing to do is to just get off. And that's what these guys did. But like I said, the thing is, they just lock the doors, and, they'll yell at you to get down and stuff like they would in a regular mainline pin, but ain't nobody listening. Like, the shit's already kicked off. It's going down. Telling me to get down ain't gonna make, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna get down until I'm sprayed or something. So it went off, and it went off for a while, like probably at least an hour before the CDC response team arrived and was able to quell the incident with pepper spray and the bombs, basically. It's like a tear gas type of thing. They I don't know if they shoot them out there or they throw them out there, but yeah, like, I'm sure you've seen pictures or videos of riots. It's what you see in those, like, it's the gas that's going out across the yard, and it makes it really hard to breathe. So at that point, you make sure that you are safe and secure in getting down, and you get down. You don't want to get down too quick because somebody's liable to stomp your head in. But yeah, that's what happened there. And I'm sure when those Bulldogs arrived at in ADSEG or whatever it may be, and they supplied their paperwork for why they were transferred, I'm sure they were given accolades for handling business, because that's what it is in there, and that's the way that you have to handle things, So nowadays, CDCR is doing the best they can to try to get Bulldogs to program on yards with the Big Four, and it's not happening. There was an incident at Salinas Valley recently where they brought 10 Bulldogs fresh off the bus, still in the red jumpsuits. They tried to bring them out onto the yard, and they were, as it was reported, they were rushed by the North and the South. So 10 against 30, 40, 50 guys. I'm not sure how many were out there, but it's not a good situation, But the thing is, if you are an active GP inmate in California, you're not allowed to say that I'm not allowed to be there, that this is a bad yard for me. You just got to go out there and handle business, and that's what it is. So that's my story for today on the Bulldogs. Shout out to Fresno and all the homeboys out there. You guys are with the business. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. remember, it's just about making good decisions in life, and then you won't have to worry about being placed in these situations where you might be fighting for your life in a situation where you're outnumbered 5-1. So, yeah, just making good decisions, compounding good decisions, and, not letting bad decisions ruin things for you. Just because you made a bad decision don't mean you need to make another bad decision. So, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, smash that like button, drop a comment, share this video if you know somebody that may enjoy this sort of content, and hit that notification bell so that whenever I drop a video or go live, you will be notified. Shout out to Fresno. All seriousness, though, salute to you guys. You guys are soldiers, and you are handling business. So don't look at the mountain. Just start climbing.